Today we are looking at three parts of the new rules on banks. The first is part of a global change that deals with the mistake of the past. In the past, when a bank faced failure, authorities either had to choose between a messy, uncertain bankruptcy or a taxpayer bailout. But now the recovery and resolution work changes that. We can have the orderly wind down of a bank with creditors, not taxpayers, paying the bill, and depositors, that is ordinary men and women's money in ordinary bank accounts, will be protected. The financial world will be a safer place, and this is largely thanks to G20 work led, I am glad to say, by the Bank of England and now adopted here as part of a new global framework. Thank you, colleagues. The second bit of work is about deposit guarantees. It is quite right that banks and not taxpayers should pay the bill, and some countries have chosen to do this with a deposit guarantee fund. Others, like my own, have chosen to take a levy. It is worth over £2 billion to our own taxpayer. I am glad that we have not chosen a one-size-fits-all approach, because different approaches can work, and it is right that we have respected that. And then the third leg is banking union. Here the Eurozone have decided to go further, and decisions which were once taken at a member state level will now be more at a European level, and they will pool their funds. Now I understand why, because of the Eurozone situation, some of those countries wish to do that. But the UK and many other members of my group are not part of the Eurozone. And so I am glad that the intergovernmental agreement makes it clear that we are not paying the funds and we do not share in the liabilities, because that puts up a firewall between those in the Eurozone and those who choose not to participate. We have difficult negotiations ahead. If we can have international agreements where they are needed, respect different national approaches where appropriate, and understand that if some countries want ever closer union, others do not, then perhaps those negotiations will go well in the future. Mr Helmer, if you think these proposals are so inappropriate and so unacceptable, why has your group failed to turn up to any of the hundreds of negotiations that have happened in the past 5 years on such an important issue as sorting out our broken banking system? And why do you wait until the very last meeting of this Parliament before you bother to make your voice heard? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Vicky. It's always good to hear from you. When you are in a fairly small group and in a structural minority as a Eurosceptic party opposed to the projects of this European Union, you cannot follow every issue in detail, no matter how important. I am privileged to have the opportunity of expressing a view on these matters today, and I thank Vicky for her question.